IFSB7. IFSB7, I know a little bit about it. Is it about sukuk and real estate investment? Yes, it's about sukuk and real estate investment. Can you tell me further about it? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just sit down and discuss. Hi guys. Hi. Do you mind if we sit and discuss together with you guys? Oh, sure.
Okay guys, let's start with our discussion about IFSB7.
Guys, what is the meaning of sukuk?
Okay, so basically, sukuk is referred to as Islamic bonds. As you all know, Islamic bonds are like certificates with each sukuk representing a proportional undivided ownership, right intangible assets.
What about the difference between sukuk and conventional bond or securities?
Okay, sukuk differ from conventional interest-based securities or bonds by firstly, fundraise through the issuance of sukuk should be applied to investment in specific assets rather than for general and specific purpose. Secondly, sukuk are based on real underlying assets. Income from the sukuk must be related to the purpose for which the funding is used. Third, sukuk certificate represent a proportionate ownership right over the asset in which the fund are being invested.
Sorry for interrupting. I want to add about sukuk structure. Sukuk structure that are not based on partnership interests, which is musyarakah and mudarabah, have real estate at their core. There are three situations that may exist. The first one, an asset-based sukuk structure that is recognized by external credit assessment institution. The second one, asset-based sukuk structure with a repurchase undertaking, which is binding promise by the originator. And the third one is a so-called pass-through asset-based sukuk structure, which is a separate issuing entity purchases the underlying asset from originator and package them into a pool and act as their issuer of the sukuk.
What about sukuk structure with repurchase undertaking, which is binding promise?
Sukuk structure with a repurchase undertaking, which is a binding promise. Okay, the first one is in this structure, the originator enter into a repurchase undertaking according to which the asset are repurchased by the originator maturity or upon earlier termination if the originator have the option to call the sukuk. Okay, secondly, commonly used sukuk structure with a repurchase undertaking in the sovereign sukuk issued by certain national monetary authorities. Musyarakah structure may be used that aim at replicating asset ownership by setting up a venture musyarakah jointly owned by the sukuk issue, usually incorporate as a SPE and the originator.
So as for pass-through structure with no purchase undertaking is basically a pass-through structure with no repurchase undertaking by involving asset-based sukuk where a separate entity may act as a sponsor and also issuer. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, that's correct, Lisa.
May I know about parties that include in securitization structure?
The parties in a securitization structure include the originator, the issuer, and the investors, and also one or more credit rating agencies, an investment banker to act, and an institution that acts as a provider of credit enhancement. And IIFS may act as originator of sukuk issues in any of the following cases. The first one, the ownership of asset held by IIFS is transferred to holder of sukuk by means of a securitization that benefits increased liquidity and reduced capital requirements.
Guys, could you tell me about IIFS exposure to risk? Firstly, originator. Risk that related to repurchase undertaking that is binding promise is obligated to make payment in respect of the sukuk resulting from a breach of certain representation and warranties. Next is service default. Maintain the business relationship with the underlying consumers and continues to collect payment on behalf of the sukuk holders. Next is SPE. SPE is generally incorporated as a bankruptcy remote vehicle to mitigate bankruptcy risk.
As for operational requirement pertaining sukuk and also securitization, the asset in securitization must be in compliance with Sharia and also principles of the Sharia. It typically relates to finance of the assets and also the concept of the payments of income and also principal. For IIFS, the underlying assets to be securitized may include inter alia, ijara, which is lease asset, murabaha or salam receivables, istinad assets or equity ownership, which is musyarakah or mudarabah. So, sukuk based on financial assets are not tradable. The latter may be combined in a pool with non-financial assets that can act as a basis for tradable sukuk. However, I also would like to add that recognition of risk transference, which is by asset, the recognition criteria, and originating IIFS may exclude securitized exposure from the calculation of its risk with assets only if all of the following conditions have been met.
Treatment for regulatory capital purposes of sukuk and securitization exposure. In Islamic finance, in addition to credit risk, there may be other exposure attaching to certain asset categories. It is customary to use the term exposure by referring either to the credit risk of asset involved in the securitization or to other exposure. The first one, capital requirements of IIFS as originators. Retain securitization exposure, hold regulatory capital including those arising from the provision of credit risk, mitigants to a securitization transaction, investment in ABS originated by them, and extension of liquidity facility or credit enhancement. The risk-weighted asset amount of securitization exposure is computed by multiplying the amount of exposure by appropriate risk limit. Treatment for credit enhancement provided by a structure, which is Sharia-compliant credit enhancement structure, will be risk-weighted as set out by Basel II.
The triple A to double A minus, the risk rate is 20%, and A plus to A minus is 50%, triple B plus to triple B minus 100%, double B plus to double B minus, the risk rate is 250%, B plus and below will be deduction, and R rated also will be deduction.
Oh guys, sorry, I got to go now.
Bye.
Real estate investment? What is real estate investment?
Aina!
Come, have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, bro, are you okay? I see, you look so troubled.
No lah, Jay. I'm just wondering about real estate investment.
Oh, real estate investment.
Oh, real estate investment. I know about it.
You seem like travel girl, so you can explain to us? I really want to know.
Okay, real estate assets include various types of completed and under construction properties as well as land used for such purposes. Real estate activities involve purchase, sale, development of land, and residential and non-residential buildings. Investment in real estate refers to the IIFS investing its own and or customers' funds directly in real estate assets or in real estate projects for commercial purposes to achieve profits from property development or to benefit from asset price appreciation.
To add what Ilmie said, a real estate investment may fall on one of these three broad categories. The first one is the activity of the holding real estate at any stage of the development process or even completed properties where such a holding is not part of a finance transaction for a third parties such as IMB or murabaha. For the second one, an asset holding where there is no binding promise from a third party to acquire by murabaha. So R2 lists the asset by IMB, and the holding period has exceeded a relatively short period such as 6 months at supervisory discretion, and based on the evidence of the management intention. And the third one is the operating ijara.
Is there any current regulatory environment real estate investment?
Oh, I have read about current regulatory environmental of real estate investment. Conventional financial institutions in general cannot engage in real estate investment unless they obtain consent from the regulatory authority. These institutions required to comply with applicable capital standards, and the authority determines that the activity poses no significant risk to the depositors. They also need to have an adequate risk management process in place and the overall financial conditions. The authorities require conventional institutions to establish a subsidiary to conduct the real estate investment activities.
What is the risk exposure in real estate investment?
So basically, the risk exposure in real estate investment is there is a high degree of variability or uncertainty of return on invest funds, as well as a risk of a significant loss of capital. Risk is likely to be higher for properties under development compared to completed one. So in this case of non-binding promise to purchase an asset in murabahah or to list an asset under a contract of IMB, the risk that may risk in is the possibility of loss on disposal of such as asset, or from having a property vacant over a certain period, or from a significant drop in price during the holding period. Real estate investment activity are suitable for IFS only on a very limited scale and under restrictive conditions designed to control the various risks to the IFS and its UIAH.
As mentioned earlier by Fara, conventional institutions are not permitted in most jurisdictions to invest commercially and directly in real estate, though they may have subsidiaries that carry out such commercial activities, which is subject to restrictions. From a capital adequacy perspective,
IIFS or its IAH are exposed through restricting the total amount of exposure in the sector, restricting the usage of unrestricted investment accounts, or applying specific risk weights for this investment. Primarily, the supervisor authority needs to satisfy itself that the IFS meets prudential requirements that allow it to engage in real estate investment activities in order to ensure the IIFS ability to support real estate investment activities.
Oh guys, what about the risk weighting of real estate investment exposure?
the risk-weighted amount of real estate investment exposure is computed by multiplying the amount of carrying value by the appropriate risk weight, referring to the three categories of real estate investment. The first one is the treatment for single investment exposure is 187.5% risk weight. The second one, the treatment for an exposure due to a holding financing purposes during the non-binding stage of the transaction is a 187.5% risk weight as stated in IFSB2. The treatments for an exposure resulting from operating ijara is the risk weight as mentioned in paragraph 116 of IFSB2.
Okay guys, I want to ask lastly, how is the valuation of real estate investment?
I think the measurement of risk exposure in real estate investment is dependent on sound and proper valuation from third parties. The risk depends on a number of factors, including the type of property and the independent parties who will assess this investment. Therefore, it is vital that the supervisory authority satisfy.
Now I have understand about IFSB7. Thank you guys.